Hey friend, Roger Christopherson here again with another first listen review. I'm doing it a little different this time. I'm planning on doing these all last weekend, but I don't know if you can tell, I'm still a little bit under the weather. I was sick all last weekend, lost my voice, I was coughing and hacking and all kinds of stuff, so it made it kind of difficult to do any type of review. I'm sure nobody wanted to sit there and listen to me sniffling and coughing the whole time, so I kind of waited till I could actually possibly get through this without choking on phlegm and all that fun stuff. So with that out of the way, I listened to these all last week and I had them all ready to go, and so I decided instead of doing one separate one for each one of these, I'm just going to do them all together. The first one we're going to go over here is Bush, The Art of Survival. I almost wasn't going to do one on this one anyway, because quite honestly, I'm just going to get through this one really fast. I didn't like this at all. I did not enjoy this listen. It's one of the very few albums I've bought that I couldn't wait for it to be over. I don't know what it is with Gavin, but he has bored me to tears. I've kind of lost interest after they broke up and got back together. I was a fan of the earlier stuff. I liked the originality that they had, even though they got pinned quite a bit as being a Nirvana rip-off or whatever. I always thought they had a little bit more grit to them, a little bit more heaviness, and a little bit more the heavier hooks. And I don't hear anything like that at all on this. And Gavin's voice is just, I don't even know how to describe it. I don't get it. He just does. This sounds like he's singing like if he was pretending, like if you were pretending to be like stupid, you're talking to somebody like duh duh duh. That's how he sounds like he's singing on this album. I just don't get it at all. And it's funny because I watched a show that was called No Cover, where he was a judge, and they were critiquing bands and their original songs, and he was critiquing them and how to write a song and what they had to do, and he was really brutal on that show. And then he releases this pile of steaming crap. I just don't get it. It's bad. I just save your money, buy one of the other two that I'm about to talk about next on the list, because there might be some people out there that like this, but I don't know how. Just it's really bad. But anyway, on to the next one is Ellefson Soto. This Vacation in the Underworld, is the name of the album. They teamed up with a couple people that I'm not too familiar with. Andy Martangeli on guitar, I don't know if I'm saying that right, and Paolo Caridi on drums. I didn't really find too much about these guys. They're probably from some other band that I'm going to feel really stupid about knowing after somebody comments on it in the comments, because I'm sure they will. I'll tell you, those guys are like actually the stars of the show on this album. This album kicks butt. I'm not gonna lie, I was really impressed with it. I was expecting a lot more bass stuff going on it. Man, I'm doing it again. But there wasn't a whole lot. It wasn't I expected maybe to see him, showing off a little bit, which you get a little bit of that towards the end of the album. There's a couple that kick in with some bass stuff, which is fine. I mean, that's kind of what I expected. And he is a killer bass player. I don't think he gets the credit that he really deserves. He always, was the shadow of Dave Mustaine and Megadeth, and he came up with one of the most iconic bass riffs ever. I mean, Peace Sells, he wrote that. I mean, that's not an easy part to play. It's really, it's not the most difficult thing in the world, but it's not just easy. Just to come up with that and write it is kind of cool that he came up with that. And the stuff on here doesn't sound too primitive either. It's actually pretty good. And I'm a huge fan of Jeff Scott Soto, going all the way back to early Yngwie days. I think I've got everything that he's ever recorded, even the disco stuff, which I think is hilarious. And just a great voice. Just if you get a chance to listen to this album, pick it up. It's worth a listen. The guitar work on this is just amazing. The drum work on it's amazing. I hope they stay together. I hope this isn't just a one-off. It was a really good album. I've only listened to it a couple times, so I plan on listening to this again now that I'm up and functioning a little bit better. And it's still in my CD player, but I haven't. Yes, I buy CDs. I love CDs, and it's just one of these ones that I'm sure I'm going to be listening to over and over again. I really hope they stay together and keep things going. I know Jeff Scott Soto's got a million things going on. He's got, w.e.t. that he just came out with a new album, the solo album he just came out with. He's doing Sons of Apollo still, as far as I know, and just a million things going on. So I really hope these guys keep this going with all the projects that Jeff is involved in. So anyway, I'm gonna give that one 4.5 out of 5 stars, we'll say. And the last one I listened to was the new Queensryche album, DNA, I guess, Digital Noise Alliance, which I don't know, is a little cheesy, but other than that, I'll give them the credit because this album was really good. I was lucky enough to see these guys a few times. I saw them open up for Metallica back when Jeff Tate was in the band. They had all the original guys, and I actually almost caught Eddie Jackson's bass pick. He dropped it and my hand was out and somebody else reached up and grabbed it, so I was really bummed about that. But that album, or that album and that concert, I saw he was playing a Spectre bass, and I loved the sound he was getting out of that, and I wanted one ever since then, and I finally got one here a few years ago. And it took me forever to find one that was in decent shape and not $1 million, and it plays great, and it was worth every dime, and I should have bought one years ago. And big influence on me as far as sound goes, and the band I was in back in those days played a few Queensryche songs, and he's not easy to play. They're not the most horrible thing, but the timing and stuff in these songs and the little intricate parts are cool, and it taught me a lot. And I remember way back to the EP, we auditioned a singer. The singer auditioned with Take Hold of the Flame. So yeah, that was a big influence on the whole band, actually. And so when they started going off in weird directions with when Mike Stone joined, and he's back in the band, so I was a little tentative about listening to this one because I heard he was back in it, and I'll tell you, I'm not a fan of the stuff he did with them. When they started going down the Here and the Now frontier, well, he joined after that, but when they made the album, it started going a little bit south for me, and then he joined and started doing the production, and man, I don't know what it was, but they lost, in my opinion, whatever it was they had. The sound was just dull. They didn't have that bright, sharp production anymore. The songs just didn't have the intricacy. They lost Chris DeGarmo as a writer, and everything just went kapooey as far as I'm concerned. And that part 2 of Operation Mindcrime, yikes, I don't know. And then the Soldier one, I can't remember the name of that one. I did listen to it once. I thought it was the worst piece of crap I'd ever heard. I don't know, that was just bad. So when Todd Latore joined, they actually played about an hour away from my house. It was funny because the kids were doing a BMX race up in the area, and we left that when they were done racing, went and saw these guys because they did an outdoor show, and Todd Latore blew me away. They were doing songs off the EP, they were doing songs off of Rage for Order. They did Walk in the Shadows, and he did it perfectly, note for note. They had a different guitar player at the time, his name I can't remember, but when that first album with him came out, I was excited to hear that one, and aside from it being extremely short, it was only half an hour. I thought it was a great album. I believe this is the 4th one, I don't know, kind of lost track now, with Todd singing. He just had a solo album, came out a couple years ago too, last year or the year before, I can't remember now, which was great. It's hard to believe he was a drummer before this, and he's only been singing not that long. But he's killing it on this one too. The production's there, the songs, you're not going to hear anything quite there's nothing on here that stands out Eyes of a Stranger or Jet City Woman or anything that's that strong, but pretty darn close. And the funny part is they do Rebel Yell as a bonus track. Why they call it a bonus track, because I haven't seen anything advertised without it on there, but they did that, and all the guitar parts that were the key little guitar parts they did on the keyboard, which I just thought was a little strange, but it still sounds good. It's just kind of funny with a band that's really not known for keyboards. They added keyboards as the main riff, which I don't know, it's just odd, but he sings it pretty cool. And it's just their version of it. It just sounds like something fun they did, and it's the last song, so it's not like anything you have to listen to if you don't want to. But I thought it was fun. See, there I am coughing again. So anyway, overall, I would rate this one probably an 8 out of 10 as well. It was really good, and the production was great. So it's nice to hear some albums being produced well after listening to a couple of these bigger bands, like Journey, for instance, not produced very well. And it can be done, guys. These last two are proof that there's good production out there. It's another thing about the Bush one; it was not produced very well. The whole album sounded blah. So anyway, enough of that. Tell me what you guys think of these ones. What you think of this format? 3 all at once instead of separate ones. Yay, nay, whatever you think. Like, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff. And can't wait to talk to you guys on the next one. See ya.